I often have heard that collaboration is the key to success in a school, and I would completely agree with that on some terms. But what type of collaboration? Just within our department, just within our school? No, we've got to include all stakeholders in the educational community. This PLC does that. This PLC is incorporating students and parents, all people that are going to benefit from this educational experience. We've got to take a risk sometimes. I know that on the surface it looks like a challenge, but it's a risk that we should be willing to take. It's for the success of our students. If we can't keep that in the center of our thinking, then what are we in the classroom for? Okay, so the big question is, how do we collaborate? I often think of collaboration meetings of these people showing up in suits and opening up briefcases and whatnot. But this collaboration unit, with the world that we live in, it doesn't have to be us and the parents and the students strolling into this large office room. But what I think it can be is that we can meet in a variety of ways. Yeah, we need a face-to-face, but we also can do things over internet like Schoology or Google Docs, or we can all contribute in some way, because I have a feeling that there's going to be some trepidation between teachers and parents and students, and we've got to break down those barriers, especially between parents and teachers. I think there's this idea that is always a parent versus a teacher. A teacher thinks, why should I ever take advice from a parent? They're a parent. What do they know about what I do? Well, that has to be destroyed. We can't go into everyday thinking of, it's us versus them. They're just as much as invested as we are. So in that first meeting, we're going to come together and we're going to have a conversation about what this PLC is and what the vision is and how each person in the group can contribute in some way. I especially like the students being a part of it. They are the people, they are the ones that experience this on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, we are in the classroom, and yeah, the parents are at home experiencing this, but it's the students that have to live it out. It's the students that got to do the work. It's the students that are going to reap the benefits of this group. So, how is everyone being involved in this community? Well, I think from the get-go, that's where we're allowing people to have a voice, allowing the members to know that they are valuable, that they are going to contribute in some way. This PLC is going to be tough. Like I said in the beginning, no one ever said that. But it's going to command respect from everyone. Everyone's going to have to respect one another. The teachers are going to have to respect the parents. The students are going to have to respect the teachers in a different way than they already do. And it's just going to have to be a respect factor. It's going to have to be a trust factor. We're going to have to keep the vision in mind. That's how we're going to succeed. That's how this thing is going to grow legs. And that's how this thing is going to create mountains and waves in the community. It's going to create a village, not in a system or a community where it's us versus them. This is the new way of things. This is how it's going to be. So what's the big issue here? I think the biggest issue is the idea of collaboration, what it looks like with parents, with students. We always want collaboration. We always want parents to be involved with their child's education. But yet when they really get involved, we kind of hesitate. And we're like, well, why are they getting involved with their child's education? Don't they know, or don't they think that I'm doing a great job? And that creates that barrier. And if you look online, if you look in books, the amount of research that is backing positive results for students from good parent-teacher collaboration, it fills works, it fills books, it fills the internet. Wherever you look, you're going to find the positive effects of it. Now involve the students, and it's just an all-around positive thing. It's a positive interaction. Yes, I'm using the word positive a lot, but that's how it can be summed up. We are in it for the students, and whatever it takes, we have got to do it. So the next big question becomes, well, who in the faculty is going to help lead this venture? Who is going to be your backbones for these things? Well, I think in this case, we're going to have to rely heavily or rely some on those experienced teachers, those teachers that have been in the district for a long time, because those are the faces of the community. Those are the people that parents have seen for a long time, teachers that students have had. Those are the people that are going to help answer the big questions that we have and use the community to its fullest. So, to be completely honest, that first meeting I will assume is going to be a little bit interesting, to say the least. I think we're all going to have certain expectations and preconceived notions about each other, especially the parents and teachers in regards to the students. But I think once that first meeting happens and once we see where we're all going with this group, I think some of those walls will begin to break down. As far as the first meeting is concerned, what's going to be happening is I'm going to be opening up this meeting by talking about what the vision of the group is for, what we're here to do, and what things that can come out of this and inside of my head, and to get these people working with one another. And the first thing that they're going to be doing is each group member is going to get some data-driven, research-based reading material. And they're going to have to read through that, and they're going to have to annotate, ask questions, be involved in the reading. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come together, and I'm going to pair these people off into groups based on students, teachers, and parents. And they're going to talk about what they read in their article, and they're going to discuss it. So then we're all understanding where the research is pointing us and why this group is actually going to work. And that's what is going to be really exciting about those group interactions, is that they're going to be seeing, hey, my piece of data says this, and another person is going to say, my piece of data is saying this, but it's all working together. And so these groups are going to talk back and forth. And the way this meeting is going to go is they're going to have time to do that. They're going to have about an hour to do that. Then they're going to get a questionnaire. And in that questionnaire, they're going to be letting me know what their expectations for the group is. Because we can all go into this with these lofty goals, but we need to have very realistic expectations. As far as rules are concerned, I think the first rule that this group is going to have to know is that we're here for the students. Number one, that is the very first rule. That is the whole reason for this group. So we've got to establish ourselves is that we're here for the students. The second rule is that this is not a platform for you to come and complain. This is not a platform for parents to say, well, in my students' class, we're not here for that. We are here to discuss how to better implement strategies to assist the students, not only in the classroom, but in the community as well. Rule number three is that all decisions will be data-driven. We'll do our best to compile the best list of data so that everyone is able to look at that data and say, okay, well, so-and-so says this, and the percentages that students are succeeding fall in these groups. That's what's going to guide our thinking. It has to. Otherwise, we're just going to be, hoping and praying that these things work. And rule number 4 is respect. We cannot be in this group without respect for one another. I don't care if they dislike their teacher. I don't care if the parents dislike what their son or daughter's teacher, what they're doing in class. We have got to look at each other as equal counterparts in this group to actually achieve the success that we want to. It will not happen without that respect. Teachers and parents are going to have to look at students as equals. As much as they don't want to, it is vital to this group because they are a stakeholder in their education. So I think the roles of this group really need to be defined. Obviously, we have the teachers, the parents, and the students, and my role. To begin with, as far as the teachers are concerned, they're going to obviously bring the knowledge of the curriculum and the content standards to the group. There'll also be a voice to the rest of the teachers. Those experienced teachers that are in the group are going to be vital to not only bridging the gap between the old but the new as well. The parents are going to be an interesting factor as well, because obviously parents are really passionate about their kids, and they bring that passion in a variety of ways. And so as the group leader, it's going to be my job to really harness that energy, not as a negative for the group, but something that's positive, and we can really harness and control and focus that energy and passion they have for their kids into something productive for the group. And finally, the one aspect of the group that I'm really excited about, and that's the students. They're obviously the ones who are living it out, like I said earlier, on a day-to-day basis. They are actually going to be a really effective pulse of our effectiveness as a group, because it's they that are in the classroom doing the work, feeling the effects of some implementation that we're doing in our group. And so they're going to be a really vital and necessary aspect of this PLC. So how can I expect others in the group to make decisions on data when we don't necessarily have data to help us out? What I'm providing are some great resources to follow to help those who might want to put a similar PLC together, one that involves community and parents and just all stakeholders in education. The first one I want to talk about is a study done by Rutgers. And on this Rutgers site that you'll see at the bottom of the page, they talk a lot about strategies for effective collaboration between parents and teachers to build that awesome community. The site also provides checkpoints for us to check and see how we're doing along the way. It's a great tool that we can use. The second site is from pacer.org, and in this site it also provides strategies for community involvement in the school. A lot of these sites that I'm giving you talk about the strategies and the data behind involving community and parents in the school. And what the pacer.org website provides is it is data-driven material that shows the positive effects of community within the actual school. And then the last one, which is schoolclimate.org, this one's really cool because it talks about having a shared leadership in the school and how that shared leadership can benefit, and that the shared leadership is not just typically what we think as far as faculty members of the school, but it also is talking about parents in the school as well as the students, virtually all stakeholders in the educational process. So check those out, and there are a lot of good data in that from very recent studies done. So we all have expectations for what we do in life, and if we don't set them high, then we'll never reach the full pinnacle of what we can actually do. And with this PLC, we're going to have two ways to assess how we're actually doing. The first way is having students involved in it, and that gives us a great indicator of how we're actually doing as a group, because if they're succeeding, then we're doing something right. The second way is to provide a rubric for our group, and what they'll be looking for is the actual student success. Also, they're looking at how much support they're getting based on the desired outcomes and needs of the group. That's where I come in. They'll be basically evaluating me. Secondly, what's our effectiveness in the community and in the school? That includes teachers. And however they rate us, and wherever we fall in that spectrum, those are the changes or the positive things that are coming from the group. Either way, we've got to be evaluating ourselves constantly, because if we're not going to get better. And that's the only way we can get better.